I think it's really beautiful to hear you say there's these little changes, because I think that's what people feel hardest to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I watched the documentary, the greatest challenge you really empathize with is having to do this when every time you're in a car, and then every time you get out the car, there's cameras, there's people,
Right.
there's opinions, there's, that's something very few people can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's so brilliant about how the documentary is made is
Mm-hmm.
that you really feel like we're living that with you.
Yeah.
And so you're like, wow, like, even though I can't relate to what Selena's going through, I can understand how it must be really challenging and really stressful. And so what's it like having to deal with all of this that all of us are dealing with too, but you're dealing with it with an added layer of, exposure?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know any different.
Yeah.
That's what's really scary. Sometimes I think that's really sad. And other times I just think, well, this is what I've been given, and this is the path that I want to continue to walk in. And I know any moment I can, quit and walk away. And, that's just not really how I was raised to be. So maybe if it had happened to me later in life, I would have had a different outcome. But because I was raised in it, I really had to learn the hard way on how to deal with it, on how to not give, if you will, that clickbait that people want.
Mm.
And I mean, I think I do my best to try and eliminate these negative stories or other people illustrating my journey. I interrupt them with my truth, and that's what I will always continue to do. And that's what this documentary does as well. It's going to be me taking control of my story, and no one can change that or say any different.
I'm so glad you addressed that, because I've always found that with you, that you always lead with love, even in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I always am so in admiration of that and in awe of that.
Thank
because
you.
I see that whenever there's any narrative, your choice will always be to lead with love and inject love into that.
Absolutely.
And to recalibrate. When did you find the strength to start taking control of that narrative? Because I think that's an amazing skill that today people need it more than ever. But when did you start developing the confidence around that, needing to do that?
I would probably say I started beginning to gain that confidence when I went through a breakup. And that's something that was super public. But all of those things that I'd felt so bad about myself and just so terrible, every day I wanted to debunk those feelings. I wanted to take control over that narrative, because I did feel that way. But the greatest gift I got from all of that was me actually being honest with people, sharing my story, and gaining the confidence to know I am enough. And I actually work really hard at being a good person, and I know I'm a great person. And when people paint these unnecessary stories, it actually gives me pleasure to just combat it with love, like you said, or kindness. I think it's actually fun for me, because it is who I am. I can't waste my time, if I'm to be honest with everyone in this room. I don't want to waste my time being upset or taking in all of the negative things that I hear online. And I don't even hear it. It's just when it gets really bad, other people tell me, and then I see inhumane things happening and people talking negatively about other women, and it just drives me absolutely crazy. And I think I'll just always be that kind of person. And I would say I'm grateful for my past, because it's made me a lot stronger.